Let's begin. Number 9, the emotional fortress. You know who you are. Someone tries to give you a compliment and you physically recoil like they just threw a live grenade at your face. A friend says, "I'm proud of you," and you immediately check the exit routes like you're planning an escape from a burning building. You treat vulnerability the way a vampire treats garlic, with absolute terror and strategic avoidance. This isn't just being reserved. This is emotional fortification on a military scale. When you grew up in a toxic environment, expressing feelings was dangerous. Maybe crying got you mocked. Maybe showing excitement made you a target. So your brain, specifically your limbic system, learned to seal everything behind concrete walls. You became a human vault. The problem is, you locked yourself inside too. Neuroscience shows that chronic emotional suppression doesn't make feelings disappear. It just redirects them into your body, where they manifest as tension, headaches, and the inexplicable urge to cry in random traffic lights. You think you're protecting yourself, but you're actually suffocating. Emotions aren't the enemy. Pretending you don't have them is. It's okay to feel things without writing a dissertation defending why you're allowed to be sad. Number 8, the catastrophe forecaster. Do you plan for disasters that haven't happened yet with the dedication of a doomsday prepper? Your partner texts, "We need to talk," and you've already mentally packed your bags, changed your identity, and moved to a different continent. You don't just expect the worst, you architect detailed blueprints of every possible nightmare scenario. This is called hypervigilance, and it's your brain stuck in permanent threat detection mode. In a toxic childhood, bad things didn't just happen randomly, they were normality. Your nervous system learned that peace is temporary and danger is the default setting. So now, even in safe situations, your amygdala is screaming like a fire alarm that won't shut off. You scan every room for exits. You overthink every conversation for hidden meanings. You treat a minor mistake like the first domino in a catastrophic chain reaction. The exhausting part is you're using all this mental energy fighting wars that exist only in your head. Your body is pumping out cortisol and adrenaline for threats that aren't there. You're not being realistic. You're being traumatized. There's a difference between being prepared and being paranoid. You don't need a backup plan for your backup plan. Sometimes a conversation is just a conversation. Number 7, the praise deflector. Someone compliments your work and you immediately launch into a TED Talk about how it was actually terrible and you just got lucky. You got a promotion? Must be a mistake. You look nice today? No, the lighting is just forgiving. You have turned humility into a full contact sport. This isn't modesty. This is self-rejection dressed up as politeness. In toxic households, success was either ignored or weaponized against you. If you did well, you were showing off. If you were proud, you were arrogant. So you learned to preemptively diminish yourself before anyone else could do it for you. Psychologically, this creates a twisted loop. You achieve something, your brain waits for the criticism that used to follow, and when it doesn't come, you provide it yourself. You've internalized the voice that tore you down, and now you carry it everywhere like a personal heckler. The tragedy is, you're robbing yourself of joy. You can't celebrate wins because you're too busy explaining them away. Your accomplishments aren't flukes. You earned them. Try saying thank you without a qualifier attached. It won't kill you. Probably. Number 6, the emotional chameleon. You walk into a room and immediately scan the vibe like a social barometer. Is someone tense? You become soothing. Is someone loud? You go quiet. You shapeshift so fast, you could win an Oscar for every role you've never auditioned for. This is called hyper-empathy, and before you think it's a superpower, let me stop you. It's a survival mechanism. When you grew up walking on eggshells, reading the room wasn't a skill, it was a requirement. You learned to detect emotional shifts before they exploded because your safety depended on it. Now you're so tuned into everyone else's feelings that you've completely lost track of your own. You don't know what you actually want because you're too busy becoming what everyone else needs. The irony is brutal. You're so good at understanding others that you've become a stranger to yourself. You don't have preferences, you have algorithms. But here's the reality. You are not responsible for managing everyone else's emotions. You are not a human shock absorber. It's okay to exist without performing a personality. Number 5, the apology reflex. We covered this briefly before, but let's go deeper. You don't just apologize too much, you apologize for existing. Someone bumps into you? Sorry. You ask a question? Sorry for bothering you. You breathe too loud? Sorry for having lungs. You've turned remorse into a verbal tic. This isn't politeness, this is self-erasure. In a toxic environment, everything you did was wrong, so you learned that preemptive apologies might soften the blow. Your brain decided that if you're always sorry, maybe you'll be safe. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. Now you just go through life treating yourself like an inconvenience. The neurological damage here is real. Constant self-blame floods your system with shame hormones, reinforcing the belief that you are fundamentally flawed. You're not. You were just raised in a system that made you feel that way. Save your apologies for actual mistakes, not for taking up space. Number 4, the control obsession. You plan everything down to the minute. Your calendar looks like a military operation. If something unexpected happens, you don't just feel annoyed, you feel genuine panic. Spontaneity isn't fun, it's a threat. This is about control, and it makes perfect sense. When your childhood was chaos, unpredictability meant danger. You learned that the only way to feel safe was to control every variable. So now you micromanage your life with the intensity of an air traffic controller. The problem is, life doesn't work that way. No matter how many contingency plans you create, you can't script reality. And every time something goes off plan, you're not just disappointed, you're re-traumatized. Your need for control isn't about being organized, it's about trying to prevent the kind of chaos that hurt you before. But you can't control your way into safety. Sometimes you just have to let the burger be cold. Number 3, the relationship saboteur. Things are going well with someone, and suddenly you find reasons to pull away. They're too nice. They're too interested. They text too much or not enough. You create problems where none exist because deep down, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. If people get too close, they'll see the real you and leave. So you leave first. This is called preemptive rejection, and it's rooted in attachment wounds. If love was conditional or inconsistent growing up, intimacy feels like a trap. Your brain learned that closeness equals pain. So now when someone gets near, your amygdala hits the panic button. You'd rather be alone than abandoned. The cruel irony is you're abandoning yourself by pushing away people who actually care. Not everyone is your parents. Some people will stay. Number 2, the achievement treadmill. You set a goal, you crush it, and instead of celebrating, you immediately set a harder one. There's no finish line because rest feels like failure. You're not ambitious, you're running from the belief that your worth is tied to productivity. In toxic homes, love was earned through performance. You had to be perfect to be seen. Now you're trapped in an endless cycle of proving yourself to ghosts. Your brain's reward system is broken. You don't get dopamine from success. You just get temporary relief from anxiety. It's exhausting. You're allowed to rest. Your value isn't determined by your output. Number 1, the invisible person syndrome. You've perfected the art of disappearing. In group settings, you don't speak unless directly asked. You dress in neutral colors. You make yourself small, quiet, forgettable. This isn't shyness. This is survival mode. When being noticed meant punishment, you learned that invisibility equals safety. But you're not in danger anymore. You're just lonely. You don't have to shrink to survive. The world needs to see you, not the edited version, the real one. If this felt personal, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it.